Monday, October 4th at 6:07 p.m. This is a meeting of the Sylvania City Council's Employee and Community Relations Committee. Present tonight are myself, Patrick Richardson, Chair of the committee, committee members Katie Capolini, Doug Hanum, and Brian McCann. We also have from City Council Mark Fry and Mary Westfall, as well as Mayor Craig Stow. And also joining is Leslie Brining, Bill Sand, Chuck Silvernail from administration. Howdy. Oh, Kevin Aller's here as well. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss Resolution 11, 2021. This is regarding the 5 Eyes of Disability Justice. I thought we could start with a brief overview of exactly what that means. I have forwarded an email to all of you with the link to the slideshow we were provided. It kind of goes through briefly. Just for the record, the 5 Eyes of Disability Justice, this is a quote from the PowerPoint, by the way, is a policy framework built on the foundational values to which self-advocates and activists within the disability movement have dedicated themselves for the latter half of the 20th century. And they are involvement, independence, inclusion, implementation, and intersectionality. Plan tonight was to discuss the resolution, see if we have any questions. I was in contact with Ron. Yes, and he's with the Ability Center. And he has said that if we have any questions, we can forward them to him, and he can let us know about that. And if we need him to come in, he can come into a later meeting if we still have any questions there. One big thing on my mind, and this might be a question for Leslie, is does this resolution open us up to any kind of legal liability, as if we're stating that we're going to do something, and are we legally bound to do anything if this resolution were to pass? Okay. And see anything in there that would conflict with our current codified ordinances? Okay. That was a couple of the burning questions in my mind. Does anybody else from the council?
Leslie, we don't have anything that's included already in our. Else.
As far as I know, done it. If anybody knows different, correct me, but that was my understanding, and I believe Councilman Sam Meldon is the one that brought it up there, and now they're trying to other communities.
Mr. Richardson, I believe that the county itself has also passed this. Is there? I don't know if it technically for commissioners is a resolution or what the appropriate terminology is.
Okay.
for all policies forward, we
Would we not take these into account, standard practice?
You know, I think that in most cases we would, and I think that this is more, the way I understand it, is this is more making it formal, and that they can say that we're all the communities are on the same page with what we agreed to on this kind of thing. And, you know, I'm sure that, as she said, as Ms. Browning said, that the ADA compliance in our code already covers a lot of this that we do. I think this is a step further than that as far as unifying all the on the same page with what we agreed to do. That's the way I understand it.
are going to all of I
It was the Lucas County Board of Developmental Action, and the gentleman I spoke to, Ron, president, brought this to us in Sylvania, provided the slideshow that we could come in. Question.
So when I was looking at it, I was thinking that, I mean, as Leslie said, the ADA stuff is already included, and maybe they're just thinking of this as kind of a reminder to bring it to everybody's forefront to rethink about it. I think the ADA Act was passed more than 25 years ago.
1992.
So, and sometimes things get forgotten, and especially since we have the Ability Center in Sylvania, it makes a huge amount of sense. And then, I mean, things that we could do when we're appointing people towards we might want to reach out to the Ability Center when we're looking for board members and see if they have candidates that apply. There's probably more to it, but that was kind of my take on it.
I'll just. I read the one story, I can't remember what it was, but it pointed out that no one with disability involved in relation to the initial where it was presented.
Yeah, and that is that's how it's worded here. I just to refresh, the quote is, the involvement part is, were people with disabilities involved in the formulation of this policy prior to its first presentation? And that,
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that as I read that, there's an aspirational part of this going forward. Look to include people, policy process level, council level.
I want to add to that personally, within my siblings, that there are 2 members of my family with disability, and that they serve on no boards, committees, no local involvement whatsoever. And I think that someone saw that we were in agreement to this, and then next year held us to a standard of, I don't see the inclusion. I don't see you're not meeting the mark. You're plenty of talk, but no stay. I feel that I don't want to be bound to this, because it's hard enough getting people to serve, and now we're encumbered by something that we all agree on, I believe, I certainly do, that there should be no barrier, but I think that trying to press that point to be going with everyone to say, okay, we agree, but I'm reticent to say that we're going to do this in every action and our every thought and activity, because it's, again, difficult to measure and to
I think that's a good, I verify one of your bound. I don't think we are bound. A guideline, say we're going to try to do this as much as we can. That's the way I understand.
Again, I agree that from what I read, same thing, but if, again, someone taking it literally down the road, that, oh, you're not trying hard. Well, how do we try harder? And I'm just, not that I'm not for it, like in 92, I wasn't for that, because it was $1 trillion deal that there was spending on every federal building within the United States because of the act. And where accommodations could have been made in time, it was forced upon people and the citizen, where now it's the law of the land, been the law of the land for over 30 years. I think we're doing a really good job of getting there. I don't want to be measured, I myself don't want to be measured against that standard. Improbable goal.
I have question.
Yeah, I might be able to be convinced, but I just, again, it's the, why do you ask this at this time? That's a first question. And then what will happen a year from now when you say, I don't see anybody with disabilities on, then what do we do? Unanswerable question.
I have a question for Leslie. Where do all the resolutions go? I mean, this is just a resolution. We keep the resolutions somewhere. Are they, like, could you find a resolution online? Like, ordinances are easy, resolutions are a little bit more.
But doesn't the public record stay for minimum of 10? Perpetuity? Okay. Everything would be, yeah, what you're saying.
How we work.
Yeah, and I think so. I don't think there's any time restriction on this. I don't think this needs to be passed tonight. And Brian, it sounds like you have a couple questions. Maybe I could put you in touch with the contact that I have over there. And if we can maybe table it until what would that be? The mid-October meeting? That be,
I'd be happy to have that conversation.
okay. That sit well with the other members of,
What are their feelings?
I wouldn't mind having him come. I felt like he offered make suggestions on things that we could do. Like the resolution is really great, and I was trying to think of what we could do, but he offered suggestions of how we could help it along, and I don't think that would be a bad idea.
if we want him to come, he said he was happy to do it as soon as he could be here as November 1st. Which is fine. That would work, you know, they're not looking for the past timeline, so if that's what you want to do, invite him, he'll presentation, and we can ask him right there. That was one of the goals of tonight's meeting, was to decide if we needed in. Is that the way we want to go with this? Any members? Table the discussion, think up some questions, write them down for the November 1st meeting. We'll invite him back. Then at tonight's council meeting, I'll schedule another employee November 1st.
You could tell him that we all have watched the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the PowerPoint's very short, so I'm sure that'd be fine. All right, is there any other questions? Also, I should tell him to prepare before next meeting or the November 1st meeting. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think, tell them, you know, we're curious.
Yeah.
That means
Great.
I will say I'm just,
Thanks. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns about Resolution 11 to come before the committee? Hearing none, is there any other business for this committee? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned at 6:25 p.m.